So women should start doing this right before 2024. Hello and welcome to Truth Bomb Live. We are going to be talking about what you can start thinking, feeling, and doing as you're getting ready for 2024. In case we haven't met, I am Karen Angeli. I'm one of the co-founders at Truth Bomb Marketing, and I'm all about helping create more rich women that are having more fun in their life and in their business. So that's me.
Yeah. And if we haven't met before, my name is Chef Katrina. And why do I get called chef? That's a great question. It's because I was a chef for 12 years at Disney. So it kind of just followed me onto online as I started building businesses. I love helping women create simple solutions to the systems and processes of building business because honestly, automation is the key to your happiness, your fun, your play, and a hell of a lot of ease in
Oh
your life,
yeah.
to
And
be
you're
honest.
not kidding because I'm the girl that I was like, I'm going to schedule out my entire week. And you know this, Katrina. I'm like, okay, how do I schedule all of my emails out? How do I schedule out all of my videos? Like everything's scheduled because I'm like, then I don't have to think about it. Then I don't have to worry. Oh my God, do I have time to do this? No, I don't like doing that. So you're so right.
Yeah, I don't like doing anything twice. The one thing I was told early on when I was working with different companies that if you do something twice, process it out.
Yeah, definitely.
Literally, like create a piece of content. You should never have to repeat yourself twice. If people ask you the same question, you refer them back to your piece of content. So whether
Yeah.
it's your video, your blog post, your podcast, but that helps build your authority. So for me,
Right.
systems are super important around that.
Yep. Yep. And as somebody that grew up in network marketing, that was a very big thing too, like having duplication. So it was the same thing for me. If somebody asked me, I don't think anybody like told me to do this, but I was like, I'm getting tired of getting the same questions over and over again. So I just started creating like this whole array of videos that when people would ask me questions, I'd be like, here's the video, and I show you exactly how to do it. And they'd be like, oh, thank you. That's so easy. Yeah. And
I'm
Sarah's
waving
saying,
at our Clapper
hello.
family over here because I just want to acknowledge that we are totally paying attention to you. I trust you. I got you in this ear right over here, Clapper family. So the more you talk or the more you share, the more awesome this gets too.
So we're going to be talking about that, what rich women need to be doing before 2024. And you had said something that I'd love you to say again, Katrina, right before we jumped on, because I'd love to like kind of bounce back and forth with this.
Yeah, there was just the great conversation. You guys all know about like the one word year, right? I've seen this for numerous years. Everyone's like, what's your one word for your year? I hear that often. And so I saw this post in one of these business groups, and it's all for females. So I was watching through and I kind of went through myself to kind of see never doing your best just because someone doesn't give you credit, right? Yeah, I
Mm,
got that. One of the things I see about that one word process, and when I was looking at what women were writing, the two phrases that, or the two words that kept coming up over and over again, Karen, were thrive. And I don't feel like it was thrive like I'm already doing well in business. It was
mm,
like thrive, I want to do well
to
in
do
business, is
well.
how it came across, right? Like I want to
Yeah.
thrive in my business this year. I want things to be going smoothly. That's at least how it occurred to me. And if I'm wrong, let me know. The second word was what did I say? It was thrive and
Prosperity. Is that what you said?
prosperity. Prosperity was another big one for them. And again, it was like you almost feel like what's the word you want to use? What is it that you're actually trying to convey to the universe? Right? Because if you're going to put that word on your vision board, if you're going to put that word in your manifestation movie, if you're going to use that word like as like a word in your life, you've really got to look at like what does that word actually mean? I think that's really important. And then make sure you're using it in a context that brings that abundance into your world.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, the thing that stands out to me, and you kind of already alluded to this, but for people to be saying, and especially women to be saying that the words that they have for 2024 are thrive and prosperity, it probably means that they are looking at their life and they're not feeling those things yet. They're not experiencing those things
Yeah.
yet. And they want to start feeling those things. And so I think that's where like we come in and we're like, okay, well, what are you doing to help yourself get into that feeling state before it happens? I
Yeah.
know for me, this was something, it was hard for me to wrap my brain around this concept of how do I feel it before it happens? And I still sometimes will experience that just depending on what it is that I'm trying to manifest in my life. I'll be like, well, but I don't really know what that's going to feel like. Like I don't
Yeah.
know how to get there. But what I started doing that really made sense to me and really did was quite effective was asking myself like, what might it feel like? And then asking myself what in the past has felt the thing that I'm looking to feel in the future. Hopefully that makes sense. So like for example, if I'm looking to create like a state of gratitude for something that I've received, I have to get myself into the state of mind that I was in when somebody gave me this extravagant gift or
Yeah.
they gave me this thing that I wasn't expecting. And how did I feel in that moment? And really like tapping into that feeling and really like amplifying it as much as possible as well. And I think that this is a huge missing for a lot of people. Like a lot of women are just like, oh, I'll feel that way when it happens. And
Which
that's
is
kind of like an old paradigm of thinking.
Yeah, Carrie, that's really interesting for me because I feel like women are emotional anyway. So it's weird. Like we are told, right, that we're emotional human beings. Like women
Hmm.
get the rap, sometimes a bad rap around this. And I think this is really where a
Yeah,
lot
it's
of the
true.
conversation needs to change, that we're too emotional. And I think that over the years we've been told we're too emotional, so we started suppressing. Like I noticed for
Yeah.
myself.
Yeah.
I
I've
definitely
noticed.
started suppressing more and more of my emotions the more I got into the business world because the guys didn't like it,
Yeah, no, and yeah, I
right?
get that. I get it.
The guys didn't like me being emotional or having an emotional response. They're like, you need to get, your emotional IQ under control. I'd hear that a lot. And I never actually understood what they were saying. And I don't actually think they understood what they were saying, to be honest. Um, and so, because they could never explain what emotional IQ was, it was just basically meaning don't be like over the top, like be more streamlined in your emotion, I guess was what they thought emotional IQ was. And I was like, no, emotional IQ is experiencing your emotions and knowing like where you're at with yourself inside of that, right?
Yeah.
So it's interesting because I think women really are incredible emotional feelers when they let themselves actually feel and be open. And when you talked about like how do you feel something again, and it just kind of reminded me um that I think we need to emotionally stack. I love how you
Hmm.
just said, Karen, that what we need to look at is go back to when you had a specific emotion. Like, what was the last time you were happy about something?
Hmm.
Right? Was it you just got a Christmas card in the mail? Did you feel excited about a present you just got? Did you feel excited about something that just happened to you? And then you've got to like look at what did that feel like, and then learn how to carry that into what you want next, right? I love how you said that because I feel like that's emotional stacking. It's
Hmm.
taking the feeling from here and understanding you can apply it or use that same feeling or generate that same kind of excitement in your body over here to get the result you're looking for. I really love how you position that.
Yeah, and I met somebody not too long ago. She healed herself from multiple sclerosis, Ehlers-Danlos, and then a multitude of other things that her body had created. And one of the things that she did, because she could have easily just sat in this poor me mentality, and it's not easy to overcome your body when you're experiencing stuff like that. And anybody
Yeah.
that I've ever met that tells me that they overcame cancer or they overcame whatever, that whatever was happening in their body, they overcame it. They said it wasn't an easy process to actually figure out how to feel the way they wanted to feel.
Yeah.
But what they did is they took baby steps. So what this lady said she did is she would literally like have a glass of water and she'd be like, "Oh my God, thank you for this glass of water." And she would be really present with it too. I think this is the most important key. She'd be really present to the fact that she had water and she was just like, "I'm so grateful that I have water that can continue to nourish me." And just simple things like that. And that is like the stacking that you just said. Like she just continued to do that over time, and she would look outside, and she had double vision because of her disease, and she would see like if she's looking at a tree, she would see true trees. So she would make jokes out of it. Oh, isn't that tree beautiful? And isn't it great that I get to see it twice? So she would start to like make jokes and make fun and enjoy even when it was crappy. And I
Yeah.
feel like that's the piece of the puzzle that isn't easy to grasp, but when you do get it and you do start living your life like this, you can start to actually look at life through a whole new lens where you can be like, well, I can actually be grateful for everything, no matter where I am in my life or in my business, no matter what's going on.
Yeah. And I think it's something that's really interesting that you say too. And I know I've had to do this for myself. And I'm really curious, how many of you right now that are watching or are watching the replay of this, if you are watching on our YouTube channel, feel like you're stuck right now. Like, don't feel like you feel isolated. I was watching a Clapper video just before we jumped on, and she was talking about how she's doing affiliate marketing, she's doing email marketing, she's doing all this stuff, and she's starting to feel that overwhelm
Yeah.
because she's stacking so much in there, trying to get that ball moving, trying to get that wheel moving. And sometimes when you're in that state of constantly trying to do things, feeling very isolated, feeling like no one understands what you're going through, and I think women really do feel this probably more than anybody else, that nobody understands what I'm going through. And you're right. Honestly, women, nobody understands what we're going through, not even each other, because we're actually not telling each other what we're going through. We are so shaming and blaming ourselves for not being at levels of success that we actually are hindering our growth together potentially to grow as female entrepreneurs, to be honest.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So getting back to the point, I remember a few years back, I was at a pretty low spot. Honestly, I was had a couple of shifts that had happened in the business world. I was super low financially, super low emotionally, super low everything. And I just remember going out for a walk, and I had like reread a book about gratitude, right? And I'm like, I know this. I've been studying this for 15 freaking years. I know gratitude, right? And yet I went outside and I said, okay, name 10 things I'm grateful for. And I was walking, right? So I'm walking in this open air. I can talk to myself. I said, okay, I am grateful for, and it took something. Like I literally had to count on my fingers 10 things. I'm like, all right, first thing I'm grateful for is this. And then the second thing I was grateful for. Then the third thing I was grateful for. What's like, I made sure I completed all 10. And it
Mm.
was funny because at some point I started looking at like, oh, I'm so thankful for the trees that are in my neighborhood. Oh, I'm so thankful that there's clouds in the sky right now. Like I really started to like figure out what I was grateful for. And the more I started saying I'm grateful out loud, the more I started to realize what I actually do have in my life.
Yeah.
Right? Like I'm grateful that I can have coffee in the morning. I'm grateful that I wake up every morning. I'm grateful that I can walk in the morning, that I can use all of my digits and fingers. Like there are certain things that we take so much for granted because it's
Yeah.
just part of our everyday life.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was hard, Karen. I would tell you like that walk. And I made myself continue to do like every morning I went on that walk and I said, what are my 10 gratitudes? And it was even the second day, it wasn't easy. And I
Hmm.
thought I had a list. Like, oh yeah, I'll just do these things,
You wrote it
right?
down so you
I was
wouldn't
like,
struggle.
I could just say I'm thankful for these 10 things, right? And I
Yeah.
still got stuck because when you look at like what's your authentic gratitude, what are you truly feeling in your heart grateful for? And then sometimes, one of the things I really did learn was how to be grateful even in the upset,
Yes.
right? Like saying, I'm so
Yes.
grateful for this upset. I'm so grateful
Yes.
this person did this to me,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Like it.
Preach, sister.
But it's like, I'm so glad somebody did this to me. And whether it
Yes.
made you upset or pissed off or frustrated you or made you cry like it did me, made me cry, I realized there was a release for me to say, I acknowledge and I thank you and I'm grateful for having met you. And I'm grateful for the incident that took place that carries so much heavy weight, and really being grateful for that, because one of the things I think we do as entrepreneurs is we look for those nuggets that we can learn from. So what was the lesson to be learned? And I know we talk about that a lot inside the female entrepreneurship, because this is for women. We sometimes forget to be grateful for even the negative things that happen to us, because they're opportunities to learn and they're opportunities to teach ourselves something new.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I look back at my entrepreneurial journey and it didn't go the way that I anticipated.
What?
I know, right? I started in the network marketing world and I blew up. Like it literally was like 0 to 3,000 in like a short period of time. And it got to a point where I kind of stagnated a little bit. And I was like, okay, I knew that I needed to do something different. And so, but I didn't know what it was until I had a member of my downline tell me, she was like, oh, hey, I found this way to build my business online and I've started doing it. And I was like, being the leader that I was like, I support you. I don't care how you build your business. Like, just go for it. Because I knew she was like a total rock star. So I was going to support her no matter what. And so she started like doing things that were very unconventional and it made me curious. And I was like, well, what are you doing? Like, tell me more. And so she showed me this program and I was like, I think I have to do this too. And it was like the thing that I like see how I acted back then that I wouldn't do anymore, was that when I saw it, it created this anxious energy in me where it was like, oh my God, I have to do this now. And like it created like this
Yeah.
rift in me where I started feeling like, oh my God, I'm already behind because I don't know how to do this.
Yeah.
And that anxious
Hold
energy,
on.
I think,
I want to ask real quick if
yeah.
anyone's felt that same way, because I think
Ah,
what you just said is exactly what so many of us female entrepreneurs, and I've heard this because I've coached so many female entrepreneurs, they
yeah,
literally get started and then say, I'm already behind.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And that's exactly how I felt. And that's the reason that it kept me stuck for so long because I continued to feel that way until it wasn't until, oh God, it wasn't until I really started like meditating seriously again because I started meditating like 9 years ago, but I stopped doing it whenever I had all of the crazy upset happen in the business world for me. And so about 3 years ago, I realized like I can't keep living like this, like it's in this anxious energy. So, but I look back at that time and I'm so grateful for all the lessons that I learned, even though like I literally got excommunicated from that network marketing company that I was in because I was like, listen, guys, we got to do this. And I came at it with that anxious energy. And so they're like, the fuck's she talking about? So, but like, I literally was like, we got to do this. We got to do this. And members in my upline were like, are you going to another company? And I was like, no, this is going to be great. Our company's not doing well. We need to help it, blah, blah, blah. And like, so I'm just like on a mission and I want to figure this out, but I know it's also going to take me some time to figure it out. So it kind of makes me a little bit nervous. And so time goes on and I start hearing things about myself that people are saying about me. And I'm like, well, that's not true. That's not what I'm doing. And it started to get to a point where it was like, I can't handle this anymore. Like there was so much pushback and so much like, I don't like using the word hate, but that's where it was. Like there was so
Yeah.
much like hate towards what I was doing, that it was like I just couldn't handle it anymore. And because I was coming at it from that anxious level of mind, I couldn't emotionally talk about emotional intelligence. I couldn't emotionally handle it. Because for
Yeah.
me, the emotional intelligence piece is yes, noticing the feeling and then asking yourself, does this serve me? And how long do I want to stay here?
Right.
That's emotional intelligence. Knowing those three things, that's when you know that you're emotionally intelligent. And so for me at that time, I didn't have that because it was coming from a level of anxious energy, overwhelmed energy. And I was just like, oh my God, I have to do this. Like freak out mode. So for me, I'm so grateful for all the crap that I went through
Hmm.
because it taught me I don't want to approach my business like that ever again.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
So,
So this segues beautifully into what we were talking about when we started this conversation on is what do rich women do right before they step into 2024? Right. And we've talked about like the journey of being an entrepreneur, and some of us are really stuck.
yeah.
So I think a lot of the times what's often missing is there's two things in my opinion. Feel free to counteract this, but I really feel like the first thing that's missing for a lot of women is the planning.
Mm,
Really, they talk about, okay, what's the word you want to use to start the year? But then there's like a word, great. You've got your word. You might have a vision board. You might not have a vision board. If you do, that's what we want you to have, right? Make sure you're at the center
Or
of
a
your vision board.
manifestation movie. That
Or
one's
the
fun
manifestation
too.
movie, which is way cooler,
It's really
by the
fun.
way.
Yeah.
I think the manifestation movie is going to become my favorite way to create that vision board come to life, right? Because you
Yeah.
can really get into those specific 9 topics that a vision board replicates, but you can actually create your mind movie for each one and really create that collage behind it. So I love what you teach inside of the time magic for that because that is so, so, so critical. So I think planning is a big piece. I think knowing how you're going to walk into your year is a big piece. Because so many times we let the holidays overrun us.
Oh yeah.
I mean, Karen, we've got so much coming up in our own lives, right? You're like
Yeah.
hanging out with family. I know I've got things going on with my parents for Christmas. So there's a lot going on. It's like, how do you plan that downtime? How do you plan that rest? How do you plan to thrive
Hmm.
or to have prosperity? Because the words are great, but if you don't actually have the plan, then it's just a wish and a dream.
Hmm.
And I've experienced that just recently. I remember walking into 2020, honestly, and that was a big thing. I was with a company at the time, and they're all like, "Oh yeah, what's your word? What's your word?" And I was like, "Vision." What kind of vision I had, I have no idea, right? And so I really didn't set myself up to continue growing my business. I didn't set myself like I didn't have a plan of action. I was just going to wing it and walk through
Right.
because I had, a company that I was working with. Everything should just work out. And like many of us experienced in 2020, jobs didn't always hold through. Companies disappeared very quickly. There are businesses that no longer exist anymore. So there was a lot that went on in that year. And it was just interesting to see like when we don't set the intention, Karen. I mean, what's it been
Hmm.
like for us to plan? Because I feel like we have a really strong plan, even for ourselves as a company, for what we're walking into 2024 with.
Yeah. I'll go back to like to answer this. I'll go back to how it was when we first started Truth Bomb 2, where we did have a plan. We did sit down and we were like, okay, what's our business plan? But we like went back to it over and over again. We're like, we're missing something. We're missing something. We're missing something. And we kept going back to it. I still think like until the day we die, we'll probably keep doing that because we're like, wait, we're missing something. We're missing something. We're not catching them where we think we're catching female
Yeah.
entrepreneurs. And so like I do think like the whole plan is important. And then like having the plan and then also being flexible in the plan is so
For
incredibly
sure.
important because this is something that I struggled with until like the whole like anxious feeling in my business made me realize I needed to be flexible in my plan because I had this goal, this vision, as you say, that things were going to go a certain way. And when they didn't go that certain way, I had to look deeper at myself and go, what am I missing? What is it that needs to change? And sometimes like you look at yourself and you're like, oh no, I'm doing what I need to do. I just need to stay the course because the manifestation, I can feel it. I can
Yeah.
already feel that it's there. It's in my fingers. I just need to stay the course. And here's the thing. Only you can tell yourself that. Only you can really understand that because I've gotten on calls before with mentors and they've told me, "Oh, you're just stuck." And I'm like, "Actually, no, I feel like this is a part of the process." And they're like, "No, you're just stuck." And I'm like, "I just don't feel like that's right."
Yeah,
And
but
so
you can't have feelings. This is business. You need to, and I
yeah.
even saw that. I saw a comment that said, remove the emotion and just focus in on to the doing. And I was like almost crushed when I heard and I saw this get written by a woman because it was like, oh, you're
Okay,
taking
yeah.
out a lot of the fun.
Yeah, that's the thing. And like here's the thing. I'm not going to bash that way of building a business because I know you can build incredible businesses doing that. I personally
Yep.
have done that where I just do, like
Yep.
just get shit done. But if you want to actually manifest a magical holy shit that happened, the only way to do that is through your feelings. The
Yeah.
only way to go, I've created from something beyond myself, the only way to do that is by actually getting into the feeling of what it's going to feel like when that actually happens
Yeah.
and really embodying it, no matter what's coming your way, no matter what, like, your mentor's saying to you, no matter what your best friend is saying to you, your family, your whoever saying anything to you. You literally are like, yeah, but I know in my core that what I'm doing and how I'm portraying myself is the way that it needs to go. And like, for me, that's how I feel like as we're building out Truth Bomb. I'm like, things will come up, things don't go our way sometimes, and it's like, you know what? Like, I don't really care. And sometimes I feel like it freaks you and Heidi out because I'm like, I know in my core that I'm doing what I need to be doing and I'm
Yeah.
feeling what I need to be feeling. And at the end of the day, I'm not going to let anything dissuade me from this feeling because it feels so good to just be like, I feel good. I like go on a walk and I enjoy my life. And I never used to do that before. So it's just like the process of getting into like just enjoying where you are, no matter where you are.
Yeah.
So,
And it's so interesting too, because I know like on this journey for us inside of Truth Bomb, we've had a lot of, I mean, holy crap, has it been a year of ups and downs? Like, I'm not gonna lie, like we know it's been all over the place, right? What's been really interesting for me though is like we've set out to redesign how women approach business, right? We really wanted to create the female business model for women, something that really taps into how women approach, because we always talk about, women approach business differently. What's been interesting is that as we've been teaching the business plan, our business has improved,
mhm.
right? Like every time we teach Unlocking My Millions and every time we have the women that give feedback, there's another little tweak that we get to make to the training that really redefines it for women. And I think that's the big thing that we love, or at least I love. I love every time we go in and we teach Unlocking My Millions, there's another level of breakthrough for women. I
Mhm.
really love seeing them gain confidence again. I can't tell you how many women we've had come into
I think
uh,
all of them that have come through have been like,
yeah.
oh my God, this is so different and I love
Oh, well, and what I
it.
meant to say, like what they've come in is they've come in broken. I honestly
Yeah,
truly believe they've come in broken.
I
They've come
agree.
in burnt out. They've come in very overwhelmed. They've come in stressed about finances. They've come in stressed about their marketing. They've come in stressed about like how what they're going to build and what the next year is going to look like because it's starting to feel overwhelming in
Yeah.
the process, right? And so what I love about Unlocking My Millions is that what we wanted to do is we wanted to remove that frustration, that overwhelm, that anxiety around building a business and give them you more freedom and peace of mind around building this business, right? Because I know women's health is starting to suffer from because of this. I know women are
Oh,
having
yeah.
a lot of mental health issues,
Mhm.
physical health issues, everything health issues. Um, we are slated to become the top, hold 75% of what was it? By
Heidi knows the
2020.
stat. I don't know.
Yeah, it's something like we're to hold 75% of discretionary income. And women, did you know that 75% of discretionary of income by 2028 is going to be in women's hands, right? And it's fascinating because women do hold and actually spend more money than our male counterparts do. And yet we feel like we can't keep hold of money. And so one of the things that we really wanted to build into Unlocking My Millions was the financial education piece. That was really important for me, to be honest, because understanding the energy of money and then understanding how to pay yourself first, understanding how to price your products and services so that you are in profit as a business became really, really important. Because I think so many times, and I taught this is why I'm saying this is I taught the wrong way to build a business because I didn't know any better. I was teaching how my mentors taught me,
Right,
right?
right.
And I was told to, just, your price point should always be 297, 197, right? So I always had these like numbers in my head for what it was worth for something. And then the idea of like charging more, seemed a little scary. But it was interesting because once we ran through the process in our last Unlocking My Millions, and we stumbled, I swear to God, it was the funniest thing. We actually stumbled across this by accident. Heidi and I were messing around with the numbers, and I said, what if we put this in? And the next thing I know, we figured out how to price products and services across the board for any business in any industry. It was like a simple formula that we had taken that was meant for one thing, and we reimagined it for another piece of the business, and it works beautifully. Like I was like, holy shit.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I was like, Karen. I'm like, get Karen
How
on the phone.
much
Get
money?
Karen on the
Yeah.
phone.
How much money you want to make a year? Let's
How
do
much
this.
money do you want to make? I can show you right now what we're going to be pricing everything at, so we know
Right.
what we're making for the year. Because that was where I know I get women that come into planning and they're like, I don't know how to do my projections. I don't know how to figure out how much I'm going to make or what I'm going to sell. And it's because they don't have that number piece, and because the way it's buried in traditional finances and tax accountants and bookkeepings, dear Lord, you have to be an
Yeah.
accountant.
Yeah. And who wants to sit there and learn that? Like,
Yeah.
oh.
God, no, right? So it's like, how do you simplify it for a woman that's busy, family, work, business, everything else, and give her a simple one place like method that she can literally plug in the numbers, figure out, okay, this is going to taxes, this is going to owner's comp, this is going to go into my profits account, this is going to go, this is the overall cost. It needs to be at this price point for any of this to work. And then it takes you out of the equation, which is what
Right.
I want. But it allows you to have that clearer head and then be say, hey, no, this is the price point because
Yeah.
I've got these expenses to cover.
Exactly.
Instead of doing this to try to, and I love you women for this, by the way, the same thing. We want to help women. We want to help
Thanks for
other
the
people have
love.
success. I love you all, right? And I get that. The thing is that we've got to remove, wanting to, I want you to help people, but I want you to help people in a way that also helps you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Please, dear
Yeah.
God,
Yeah.
right?
Help people with your genius. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But then also at the end of the day, like, are you making sure that you are taken care of as well? And like, that is a general thing that women do, that they will put other people before themselves time and time again. And it's to our detriment to do that, because when you do that over and over again, you're telling yourself that you're not important. You're not as important as someone else. And this is a subconscious thing, guys.
Ooh,
Like,
that just makes me all flustered and want to cry for all of humanity and all of women.
yeah, but that's what the subconscious
Oh,
program is saying,
you
that I'm not worthy of my own love. I'm only worthy if I give to somebody else. And that for me is like, I want to help people realize your own worth and what you can create at the end of the day. Because when you come at things with a whole new mindset and framework where it's like, no, I have to come first, because when I come first, I can actually give more to people because my cup is now full. I've given to myself and now I can give to other people.
yeah.
And it just, you come at things not from a burnt out, frazzled state. I've been on calls before where my mentor's been completely frazzled and I'm like, are you okay? Do we need to
Me,
talk?
I've,
Yeah.
I've, I've been on coaching calls as the coach, frazzled. I am totally going to admit that I've gotten on calls
Yeah.
going, what the heck, right? Like, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And so like I personally like, if I feel that energy from somebody else, I'll just be like, yeah, we can chat another time. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to jump into this right now. This isn't the energy I want to be in. But it took time for me to figure that out, to protect myself. Because in the past it would be like, well, I need you to feel good too. And it's like, yes, I want you to feel good, but part of you feeling good is you giving to yourself first. So give yourself some time, give yourself some space, and we'll chat later, kind of thing. But like, yeah, I don't remember where I was going with that. I got completely derailed, but
No, but that is the beautiful thing, because it is. It's like when you're frazzled, overwhelmed, like how do you even deal with your finances when you're frazzled,
yeah.
overwhelmed? How do you even like even deal with like your marketing when you're frazzled and overwhelmed? Like we talk about with like what I love about Unlocking My Millions is that it's a business plan, it's a mindset plan.
Yeah.
It really is. It's a mindset plan. Like you recognize you're going to have to do this building steps. So it's a mindset plan. It's a financial plan for your business, and it's also a marketing plan, all built
Mhm.
into one. And well, you might look at that and go, well, that's really overwhelming, because it can be. I remember when we first looked at the business plan that we were given.
Oh, yeah.
God.
Well, some of it too was a man created it, and we were like, the fuck is he trying to ask us?
Yeah. I'm like, my brain is not in this world
I
at
am not that
all.
smart.
I was like, can you dumb it down and make us relatable to me and where
Right,
I'm at? Because
right.
it was, and it's traditional. Honestly, if you go pull up business plans,
Absolutely.
what he gave us
Yeah, it's pretty
is
normal.
it's pretty standard with a little bit
Mhm.
of his tweaks and variations. And we looked at that and said, dear God, this doesn't work. And we even have, it's so funny, we have a member on our team, Hillary. She has an MBA,
Mhm.
right? She's got a master's of business associates, right? And we were talking with her and we're showing her Unlocking My Million. She's like, oh, this finally makes sense. I never understood. I kid you not. She
I
literally
wasn't
had
there
a
for that. That's
master's in
fun.
business,
That's
right? And she's
funny.
like, listen to me. She's like, oh, this now makes sense. She's like,
I
I
didn't
can
hear
never
her say that. That's
figure
funny.
out about that. Well, it was a conversation I had with her way, way, way back. But it's so funny. And I'm like, yeah, this is what they've been saying. She's like, I never understood it. But you made it sound a little more easier to manage. I'm like, yeah, because it is a lot
Success.
easier than freaking they teach you in school. I'm like, oh my God, you've got an MBA that you've spent thousands of dollars for. And all we're asking is $447 for women to come in and plug into the best life of their life, right? The best planning of their life to manifest and create 2024 as their most magical year ever. She has spent thousands, tens of thousands of dollars on an MBA. And we're offering it for $449, right? And she's like, that's a dumb deal. Like, that's like a no-brainer. Like, I almost feel stupid if I don't take you up on this offer, right? Because it's like, are you insane? Like, you're giving away that much value and you're basically teaching an MBA for women, and you're doing it in a way that actually makes sense for us and helps us understand why it never felt right and why we feel isolated in this whole building process. I was like, yeah, come play with us. It's cool.
Yeah, come on. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, but it's so funny when you start talking to people that have gotten their MBA and stuff, especially females, and they start talking about what we're doing. They're like, oh, now this makes sense. I was like, oh my God, I'm so glad I didn't get my master's in business, because actually that was one of the avenues I was pursuing, because I really wanted to get really an understanding of business. But when I started looking at the curriculum that was being taught out there, it still
No.
didn't match for how what I know about. I mean, I've owned a restaurant, right? I've owned and operated a restaurant. I've had to open it, I've had to close it, I've had to sell, I've had to market, I've had to do inventory, I've had to do all the things a business owner does on top of that. I've had the pleasure of helping build out digital marketing companies, right? From the back end, from how do they grow, scale, all of this. And so to hear MBAs come at me and say, hey, this is how you build a business. And I'm like, that doesn't work for women. And they're like, what? It doesn't work for women.
And then the fun thing is you add in the stuff that I teach, and people are like, that's part of the business plan?
The thing is I don't understand why it hasn't been.
I don't
I'm
either.
pissed. I am pissed that what you teach hasn't been incorporated into the schools, into business planning, into so much what we do. It's been made this total BS
Taboo.
around it. A
Yeah.
taboo BS.
Hmm.
Don't say that. Don't do. Okay, I have a question. This has been bothering me all morning since I woke up to take my friend to the airport, by the way. I have a question for all the women that are watching. I really want to know. So I'm going to put a post out on social media today. Don't worry, you're going to see it somewhere. Which do you like better, goddess or queen? Do you like either one of them? If so, why? If you don't like either one of them, if so, why?
So
Because I've had
am I
some
answering this?
wrong. Yeah, I'm asking you if there's a
Okay.
preference, goddess or queen, which word do you prefer?
Goddess.
Why?
Oh, it feels so fucking powerful. Like it feels more than just queen is like it's powerful too, but like goddess is like way more powerful in my opinion. Like it's like in my brain it's like above, like you've created it all. You like the queen is like ruling it all. The goddess has created it all.
Mm.
Like, yes, please. I want to be the creator.
Yeah,
So,
I'm really
yeah.
curious though. Because I want to put that out there now. I'm asking, I mean, our Clapper family here that's watching us and our YouTube family that's watching us live. If I said which word resonates more with you, queen or goddess, let me know because there's such a visceral reaction to those two words from women. I have seen,
Really?
oh,
Like what kind of reaction? I'm
I've seen,
curious.
I have had seen people say, I don't ever want to be called queen. Never call me that.
Oh, I wouldn't be
I
upset
mean,
if
like
someone called me
a
queen either.
yeah, like a negative piece
Mm.
to it. I actually have a friend of mine says, "Don't call me queen. They're old and cranky. I want to be a princess."
Oh, okay. Okay.
Right?
Princesses turn into queens. So what does that mean?
Yeah. So, I've had people say they don't like the word goddess. It feels
Okay.
too powerful to them.
Oh, whoa, really? That's wild. Yeah, for me, I'm like the goddess means that I've created it all. Like that to me is what
But
that means. That's wild.
yeah, but it's interesting because I think women have different reactions to those words based on backgrounds, preference, and where they're at. And when you talk about, especially goddess, like to say that you're a goddess, to understand and really embrace that, you have to be at a higher energy level.
It's
You
true.
have to understand like where you're at. That's the emotional IQ, that's the tag in, that's all that awareness. Because to say you're a goddess, if you're at a low energy level, feels like disempowering almost. Like you're like, there's no way. You're almost, you almost condemn it and dislike the word.
Ouch. Ouch. Yeah, and this is what you're seeing? Yeah, I haven't seen this. I
Yeah.
haven't seen this at all.
I'll post it.
So,
I'll post it out there and I'll so we can see it. But I'm very curious to see. I'll put it into a couple different places. But I'm certainly curious to see. If women had a choice between a goddess or a queen, which would you choose and why? Because I find that the answer to that from all different walks of life to be very, very interesting.
yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, at the end of the day, we see life how we are, not how life really is.
Mhm.
So, and I say that all the time because it's really true. Like, however our experiences are, like we're going to look at somebody else or we're going to look at a situation through what our experience has told us. Yeah,
These are our
exactly.
experience lenses. This is our
Yeah.
life experience, and this is how we see life.
And look at how little those are. Like, yeah, you take those off your eyes, you see a whole new picture, but you have
Oh,
those on your eyes, you only see through this small little space here. Yeah. So it's just, I don't know. At the end of the day, like, if somebody says something that I'm like, yeah, I don't agree with that, but I'm curious about it. Like, what would make them, and I always ask myself this, what would make them see life that way? What would
mm,
make them see me that way? And so I'm always exploring to go, well, I think that this is the reason. And I don't always know unless I ask because I make my own assumptions too. And even sometimes when you ask people how come they gave you a certain answer, they may not even know the reason that they gave the answer. And this is where self-awareness really comes in.
yeah.
Understanding yourself on a like soul level, and I'm talking soul level. I'm not talking like the top surface. I'm talking about what's going on deep down inside you.
Not the fact that I have a freckle right here. We're talking deeper
There's
into
no
that.
freckles. Yeah, that's not a freckle past a hair. No.
What? Oh, fine. Deeper than that. Let's go there.
Uh, but yeah, it's interesting as you talk to people in life, like the different answers you get. And this is probably one of the biggest reasons I like to travel internationally
Oh, yeah.
because you see people live in such different ways from you. And you're like, wow, I never thought about that before. I never thought about how I don't need that or that would be nice to have or how come we don't do things that way. Like it opens up your eyes to a whole different reality. I know like me, I was born and raised in New Hampshire, right? And all of my friends from high school still live in New Hampshire. Some of them got out, but most of them are like still, like my really close friends are still in New Hampshire. And I'm grateful that I got out and I saw different parts of the world and I lived in different parts of the world. And I'm saying the world, I mean the US. I haven't lived in other places yet. I've traveled, but I haven't lived yet. That is on my vision board, by the way. But um, as far as like living in just in different states, you get a whole new perspective on life. Like you go from the north to the south, and that has its own culture. You
Oh
go
yeah.
from the east coast to the west coast, that has its own culture. Midwest, that has its own culture. Everything has a different culture. And if you're open to different possibilities and you're open to understanding, well, how come they would do things like that? You could create a whole new thought process for yourself, a whole new life for yourself. This, to be completely honest, is how come I deconstructed my Christianity. Like, this is how come I just was like, yeah, it just doesn't serve me anymore. And I'm okay with that because I started getting curious. And I'm not saying that if you're a Christian, like, and you love it and it serves you, please keep doing that. But for me, it didn't serve me anymore. And so I was like, okay, I can let this go because it's not serving me.
Hmm.
So, like having that open-mindedness about my existence and being curious is what caused me to get there. And the thing is I know people that have gone the opposite direction from me, where they're like, actually, no, it's deepened my faith. It's made me believe more in my Christian faith. And I applaud both ways. Like for me, I don't feel like there's a right or wrong way to do this. And just like in business too, there's no right or wrong way to do your business. At the end of the day, it's how do you feel about what you're doing? What's the feeling?
And I tie into that. The last thought of this is that I have learned too that women cannot follow a path. Like the blueprint that's no, honestly, the blueprint that gets set out to women to like how to build a business, there will always be a modification for that woman. And I think sometimes where we bump up against some resistance is that we're told that we shouldn't deviate from that process.
Right. Yeah.
Like, this is the way. And you're like,
Yeah. Yeah.
no, I need a little wiggle room.
Yeah.
I need to make it my own so that this actually works in my life for what I want and what's important to me.
Hmm.
So that's one of the beautiful things I love about Unlocking My Millions because it really has given women the ability to create and customize their business in a way that serves them,
Yeah.
right?
Absolutely.
And that's something that you don't often see in a business plan. It's very rigid for what they want to deliver. But
Hmm.
here's the thing, like our goal is that you should be able to take this business plan to any grant writer, any banker, and be able to then apply. The one of the biggest downfalls for women around getting funding is that we're not pricing our products and services at a price point that you can pay back those loans or receive the grant money. So
Right.
until that comes into play, we are literally creating our own gap. Like they talk about this gap between pay. The thing
Hmm.
is, a lot of the times, and I will be totally blunt, I'm just a truth bomb on you, ladies, we create that ourselves.
Yeah.
It is our thinking that has really put that gap there. No government official, no president, no company owner can close that gap. The only
That.
person that
Hmm.
can close the gap is the
You.
woman. And
Absolutely.
that takes the rewiring of the mindset and it takes the rewiring of your emotions and it takes the rewiring of understanding how money works and the confidence to be able to ask for what you want and know you like need.
Deserve it. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, right. I got an article yesterday from a good from one of my family members in Holland, as you mentioned this. And it actually the article was about how women in business negotiate better for others than they do themselves.
It's true. Yeah.
Yeah, and we were
So
talking
true.
about that earlier. So this is where it's time, women, that we start negotiating for ourselves.
Hmm.
And we really put ourselves at the first and foremost because you can ask and you will receive.
Hmm.
And it's time to let go whatever limiting beliefs that you have. And trust me, it's going to take rewiring, lots of rewiring, because this is centuries
Yeah.
worth of hard wiring that has been passed down to us subconsciously as women, culturally, across the globe. This is what we're dealing with. So
Yeah.
until we start looking at inside, this is what we teach inside of Unlocking My Millions. Start here.
Mm.
for just $449. It's next to nothing. Kick your new year off right. Get inside now. Start the journey. Or go live with all this training on January 9th. You can get in, take the holidays to recoup, know your spot is saved inside of here. Go download your workbook, your playbook that we've created for you, and let yourself relax, play, and have fun. And then dive into your new year with us and really plan both your mindset, plan your marketing, plan your money so that 2024 doesn't get away from you if you feel like it has this year. And it's simple. All you got to do is head over to truthbombmarketing.com. Link's probably up in our over here. It's going to be down in our description here on our YouTube channel, right?
Yep. On YouTube, it's in the description. On
Yep.
Clapper, there's a link in our bio, so you can check
Yeah.
it out there.
Honestly, it's a ridiculous price. And the reason we did this is because we want you as women to come in. We're looking for the testimonials. We're looking for the women in business that want the biggest shift and change in their lives. And
Mhm.
it only starts with you taking action right now. So that's the deal. That's what rich women do right before 2024. They plug into Unlocking My Millions, they get ready, they get mentally prepared, enjoy the holidays, and then step into the new year to get their plan together around their mindset, get their plan together around their money, and get their plan together around their marketing. 2 months and you'll change your life. Is it worth it? Only you know.
True.
With that, we're off.
Bye, friends.
All
We'll see
right,
you
I'm hanging
later
up
for
on
part
a.
two.
Woo.
Bye.